Hi guys, welcome to this short video about the question how we can test these new lithium-ion AA batteries, or they're probably AAA batteries as well. I mean, they are rechargeable with micro USB, or you can have also the one with the cap. It's normal USB, but they are really new. I mean, total different thing than the old style nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid. But what can we do with them? I mean, we had this old equipment here which a lot of people had or probably still have, which work with nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid. By the way, I have to excuse myself a little bit for the really loud fan. Yeah, it was not so loud like 20 or 30 years ago. Now, yeah, it seems to fall apart somehow, but there's no other way. I mean, I cannot turn it off, but it still works. I have it even now on 220 volts. It's actually made for 110, so I wanted to make sure that it has a proper voltage, so everything is nicely set up here. And when I put this thing here like a nickel metal hybrid, I'll put this in, I can even feel that it's heating up and it is checking. Maybe you can see that on the display. Display is pretty weak. I'll turn off the light a little bit. Maybe now is a turned off light. You can see it's displaying on the slot 1 that it's charging this battery, so it doesn't have any problems with the nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid. So, but how is it with this lithium ion? So let's check here in this slot, and that's slot number 3. Doesn't do anything. I mean, even when we go back to the slot 1, which we know was working with the other battery, doesn't do anything. So it looks like all these old chargers which are manufactured or designed to work with the 1.2 volts of nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid, they are not working anymore. So we can actually dump these things into trash. I turn it off now, so now it's I don't have to yell anymore because of this loud fan. So I'm definitely going to dump that into trash, because all my old batteries, they are now leaking. They are, yeah, I had them for 20 years or some even more, so it's time for a new generation. So I'm going to replace all these batteries with these really nice lithium ion batteries. They are really super lightweight. They have a little bit less capacity, but they are so much easier to charge. I mean, we have this micro USB port here, or we have also the ones with the cap, which you can just plug into your computer or USB hub. I mean, that's a total new thing here. And even when it has less capacity, so it's much easier, I think, also to use with children. I mean, not small children, but maybe teenagers, so they don't have to bring it back to you and you are charging them in the charger, but they can charge them on their own. Just plug them in their computer or micro USB cable, and so they don't have to bring it back. You can tell them, yeah, charge the batteries on your side and keep them. So it's much easier, but the problem is how to really test them. I mean, you can just charge and use and then recharge. I mean, they do not have any kind of memory effect. That's one of the good things, and also there are other good things because they have 1.5 volts. That's the really awesome thing here. Yeah, I have it tested already here. Without pulling too much power. It was on 1.5 volts here. Hope you can still see that. I hope I don't interfere with that. And still, when we are pulling about 0.5 amps, it's still exactly on 1.5 volts. So, by the way, how are we testing that? That's also an old-fashioned battery tester which was designed for nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid, but it looks like it's still working. We can say how many cells we have. We can start with 1 cell to up to 12 cells. I'm not sure if everything still works with the amount of cells, because we have 1.5 volts instead of 1.2 volts. but it looks like we can really use that to measure the capacity inside here. So I have started here on the lowest setting here, which is pulling probably 0.01 amps or so, really low, and then I have been increasing that. I mean, it's not exactly same as it was with the old style batteries, but you still have the possibility to adjust the current. Here I have tested that when I've been counting the time, so I'm at around 450 milliamps per hour here, and I'm going to test, and I'm expecting that it will stop. I mean, it doesn't stop here probably from the equipment because it never gets to 1.2 volts or lower, but it will probably stop from the battery itself because it has built-in electronics here. So I'm just going to let it run, so it should be running for around 4 hours. So, and I'm going to check after that how it will look, how the voltage will be, how much milliamps we have. So this thing is gone, these times are gone. I'll dump everything into trash, the nickel cadmium nickel metal hybrid, and also this charger here, completely useless these days. I mean, you can still buy nickel metal hybrid batteries, no problem with that, but I think the advantage of the lithium ion are just too large. We have faster charging, faster discharge, we have more cycles, we have a lot of advantages. Of course, we have the problem with that if you are doing crazy things, they could overheat, explode. We have seen this in really rare cases. There are always some cases every couple of months in the news, but when we consider how many lithium-ion batteries people are using, so it's still on a really low number. It's probably even less likely than getting hit by lightning or something like that. So yeah, I let it run, and I will do the final part of the video after that. I mean, of course, we could just go and buy one of the new lithium battery chargers. I mean, there are some combination of nickel cadmium nickel metal hybrid and lithium ion, but they are going to easily cost at least $30. I mean, I found one, and I will definitely put one which I found and has good reviews into the description, so you can check it out, maybe order it right from there if you think it's really worth it. But I think with these new lithium-ion batteries, it's actually not needed because it doesn't have any kind of memory effect. Or, I mean, we see when it's empty, we see when it's full, we see, yeah, and we can just, if you're not sure, we can just plug it in and recharge it fully, no matter where they are. So, and yeah, of course, I mean, it's good to know how much capacity we have inside, but usually we get a pretty good feeling if some equipment is not really working good anymore. So it's usually time to throw it into trash, or we could definitely see how much charge we put inside. I mean, even with such an easy power bank here, we have these numbers here, like 7,500 milliamps, and then when we attach it and charge it, we see how much charge we put inside, and that's the capacity basically. So yeah, I don't see actually the need here with the lithium ion to buy new equipment which is just sitting around 99% of the time. It's a total different thing than which we had with the old nickel cadmium or metal hybrid. Or if you want to have a little bit more accurate numbers and don't want to rely on the digital number of the power bank, you can buy something like that. That's a USB power meter, and it gives you some really good numbers on the power of anything with USB, so you can check power banks and batteries and a lot of things. I mean, it does only work with 5 volts, so you cannot put such a battery on the inside to test that, but everything which goes inside now at the moment will be the capacity of this battery, so you can also test it in this direction. And yeah, by the way, I'll put down everything what I have here into the description. So the power bank, the USB meter, and this AA rechargeable lithium-ion battery, everything which I've been testing and found as very good and reliable. So you can check these things out and buy them right from there if you like them. Yeah, so that's the result with this test device, old school test device for nickel cadmium or nickel metal hybrid batteries. And as you can see, it stopped. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you what stopped the whole thing, if it was the battery or this device. I guess it's the battery, because we still have 1.5 volts here, so it is very unlikely that this device stopped. So probably the internal electronics, the logic said, okay, battery is empty, let's stop with the power, with delivering power. And so then, because of here it stopped also here, which is a nice thing. Yeah, and it seems like we can definitely make a good reading here with this semi-automatic battery tester. So if you have something like that, you should be able to test this. My only question is if this reading is accurate. So we have here a 2027 milliamps, which is quite a bit above the listed milliamps here of 1600. I mean, actually this device is set up for nickel cadmium, which is usually 1.2 volts. Here we have 1.5 volts. So if you take the difference into account, let's say we reduce from 1.5 volts to 1.2 volts, and we reduce in the same amount or in the same ratio the milliampere hours from 2027, when we reduce by 20%, we would come exactly to 1600, which is exactly the thing which we have here listed on the battery and also in the Amazon listing. So could be, I mean, if we assume worst case here, if there's really a difference depending on how much volts we have, then in worst case we still have 1600 milliampere hours, which is good so far and nice, because 1600 is really good. It's a high value. Most of the batteries with the normal USB-A plug and not the micro USB ports, they have only 1200 milliampere hours. So we are still really good, on a good level with this 1600 milliampere hours. And I think for me it worked. I mean, for the moment I'm happy. I just have to find out what it really means, but at least I've been able to test something which is pretty close and gives me quite some confidence. And so I think I don't have to buy another charger for $30. I'll keep this at least. The other thing goes down the garbage or into the garbage tray, of course. So I'm happy with this one, and I'll keep, of course, this one. I mean, something like that is always good to have. I have no clue if we still can buy this, but I will definitely put down the link to the multi-function charger which you can use for nickel cadmium, nickel metal hybrid, and lithium-ion into the description. I mean, it's $30. You have to know if it's worth to you. For me, definitely, again, it's not needed. I think I'm good with this configuration if I really have to check that, or I'm also good just with this one to see how much power we get into the battery, because I really assume it's the same amount which we can get into the battery as we get out of the battery. So it would be really interesting to learn from you what you think about that. You think I'm accurate here? Maybe you have more knowledge, more education about these things. It would be really interesting if you could give us some feedback about this configuration, what I did, and what results we got out of here, if they are accurate, or we really have to adjust that. So I still hope I've been able to help you a little bit with this video. If you have any questions, comments, whatsoever, please write everything down into the feedback area. I'm always happy to talk about these things. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.